again, Litecoin Lot again here on this beautiful night, July 18th. I hope you guys are all doing excellent out there, out in YouTube land. I hope you're kicking back on the moon today, hanging out. We'll be here someday, you guys. We're going to be here someday. So it's not today. We are enjoying a little bit of upside today, but some news going off, dude. What is Elon doing, you guys? I just saw this today. There was actually a company that beat Elon to putting the first implant in a human patient. And so it's like I was reading a little bit about this. Synchron has implanted its first device in a U.S. patient, dude. July 16th. It helps severe paralysis. And helps communicate using their thoughts. So it's very interesting. And it, how are you guys feeling about that? Speaking of which, I got an excellent version of the Wall Street cheat sheet, guys, that I wanted to share with you. And for those of you that are new to market cycles, crypto is like an adrenaline rush and a compressed market cycle. So we're part of, if you're part of cryptos, then you are part of a cycle that it's an education of the full cycle in a very short amount of time. So typically right now we're seeing 4-year cycles. People can talk about 5-year cycles or extended cycles, but right now it's like every 4-year cycles. That's what we're seeing in the patterns macro level. So this is happening every 4 years. We're having like the mine supplies reward gets cut in half, and then you basically start this like bull run, basically because you control the supply, right? So if you can control the supply side, if demand stays the same and the price goes up. So as long as the market doesn't sell off past the point where it starts just like capitulating down into something, we know that Bitcoin is decentralized, so it's not can't really go anywhere as opposed to other companies that can go bankrupt, right? So speaking of bankrupt, I wanted to share this with you guys. This is something I've been kind of working on. I wanted to see, run it by everybody here to see if this makes sense to you guys. Worked kind of hard on it. So this is what I've got so far. So if this doesn't make sense to you guys, this is our current system. This is how I view our current money flow and how money is created and how it flows with the US dollar being the world reserve currency. So give me a shot here, you guys. If I can explain this in 2 minutes to a child, good luck, right? Like that's why we can't really, a lot of people can't explain this. And if this doesn't make sense and it's totally far-fetched, then please let me know and please comment below. If you guys want to screenshot this is some LZDP original gangster US monetary lowdown right now. So anyways, okay. So people in all businesses choose a president and Congress, right? Okay, and then the president and Congress, they basically decide together to create a bond, right? So this they create a bond, an agreement to create a bond, right? Shocker. That's why I have a shocker up, right? And so that actually is carried out. That order basically is carried out by the U.S. Treasury, okay? And it's okay, I'm going to create a bond. And it gives a certain percentage of bonds creates this bond. It also creates bonds and goes, to the U.S. Mint, which provides silver eagle and gold eagles. And then private supplier of banks are actually, of blanks, sorry, are supplying the U.S. Mint with silver and gold. So that's kind of interesting. And then the U.S. Treasury is also actually creating physical actual paper money, right? So it's responsible for about 1.5% of all the currency actually is actually paper money. So we're pretty much on a digital system right now. We're at like 8.5, right? My calculations. So anyways, that's how much actual paper money exists in the bank. So the bank's never going to give you all the cash that you have right on hand, because it's not going to have that on hand. It doesn't have it because it's in. So what happens is the U.S. Treasury now creates bonds, right? So it creates more bonds. These bonds will go this way to the presses, and then also other countries buy bonds. So that's because of the world reserve, and this is probably a pretty big chunk too. So I have to do some more research. This thing's growing, right? So they create these bonds. We also create these armed forces. So like we want to build the craziest military, the craziest infrastructure, and have the smartest people. Hopefully, it's too bad we didn't invest more in education here. Like honestly, so anyways, it's unfortunate that everybody has to focus around, in my opinion, you guys, that, and this is kind of where Bitcoin comes in, because we have a median of exchange now that's decentralized. So nobody creates. So we've created so bonds go here. Then basically the biggest buyer of bonds is the commercial banks, right? So the banks buy the bonds. So the majority of this whole thing is actually this creation of bonds that go to the commercial banks. And there's basically 4 banks in the US, you guys, right now. There's JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo. Those are like the 4 banks. That's it. It's like we whittled down everything else. Everything else is just an offshoot of one of these guys. And then what happens, right? So they immediately buy the bonds from the Treasury, okay? And now they only buy them because so they can sell the bonds to the Federal Reserve, who buys the bonds, right? So they sell bonds, Federal Reserve buys the bonds, and they buy the bonds at a certain interest rate, okay? And that's basically what is setting a lot of different things on the 10-year bond. So and then the Federal Reserve also, so like as they're buying these bonds, like say it's a 3-year bond, at the end of that 3 years, they actually go to the Treasury and collect, hey, I had a $3 million of a 3-year bond. I'm going to collect my $3 million of the 3-year bond. Okay, I'm just making up numbers, but that's kind of how it goes, right? So, and then they also just grow a balance sheet, which basically consists of all this stuff. So like, and then this is basically all the money in creation, right? So this is the derivative market. It's 1.2 quadrillion. Okay. Unfunded government is 210 trillion. And then like real estate's like 217 trillion. And so this is basically, and then this is gold, and then this is cryptocurrencies, like this like little bit. It might even be smaller, but I just couldn't even like it's probably smaller. It's than that right now. It's gold's, I think a little over $6 trillion. So the cryptocurrencies is like a trillion now. So 6 times that. So that's kind of like an equal proportion. So and then businesses and corporations, I didn't want to make this crazy arrow like all over the place, so I just put them in green. So these are the same entities as green right here, you guys. And basically the money creation happens when people and businesses ask the commercial banks for loans, or they swipe something with their credit card, right? So like that's when money is created. So and then so that they get the money, and then they can also, businesses and people, they buy into these assets, okay? And then commercial. The red line here, the main goal of this whole thing is a little long-winded. I didn't got to charts. I'm sorry about that. Is this red line, you guys? And this red line, I'm sorry, this is a little boring. I'm putting this through. I just kind of wanted to touch base on this chart because I've been working on it, and I had to visualize it because I'm a visual person. And does this kind of look like a Ponzi scheme? Like, I mean, does anybody else see like this crazy, it's like circles within circles of how these things go. So we're like a Ponzi scheme within a Ponzi scheme, within a Ponzi scheme. Like, so just to try to mask the fact of a Ponzi scheme. So it's crazy, dude. And so the commercial banks then have this red line. So this red line is the thing that's kind of broken right now. Like, I really think that this red line, and this basically red line is basically the commercial banks being able to buy and sell derivatives, and commodities and stocks and all this other stuff, because these guys, right, are controlling majority of the microtransactions occurring in USD, being processed by the people and small businesses living, especially in the USA, but everywhere. All flows of money. This group of 4 currently, right? So there's four banks, can enter the market and go bankrupt because of financial decisions, right? So they can basically, if they make unwise decisions, then they can go bankrupt themselves. But what does that mean for everybody that has their money in one of those banks, right? They can't get them out. So that's my point, everybody here. That's why I stress, being your own bank, being your own, trying to get out of the system a little bit, like in ways that are legal, obviously, and pay your taxes. And this is not financial advice on this channel, just so you guys know. But, if you rely on somebody that's involved in the market themselves and they make poor decisions, or they're forced into poor decisions because they're all just kind of communicating, especially with the gold and silver markets, with this tip of this pyramid right here, these guys are in control of this tip because they know it holds the backbone of this whole monstrosity, right? So if the tip goes, so does the monstrosity, and that kind of goes in life, right? The tip goes, monstrosity soon chases. So anyways, where do you guys think we are on this Wall Street cheat sheet, you guys? I'm sorry if this video is a little dry. I really wanted to make it fun with you, for you, but it is really late right now for me. The psychology market, I think we're right here, possibly in this depression. Still kind of rising up out of this depression. I think that's kind of where we are. So we have this to look forward to, you guys. So be grateful to be in the space. Let's get into the charts. If you guys wanted to see the charts are actually really crazy. So the DXY, obviously, we are having a pullback. I'm hoping that this kind of like this, there might be this like macro head and shoulders forming. Like, I'd love this formation to play out. That would be great. If this thing's actually just a pullback, just like one of these, right? It's just doing like another, it's doing this, you guys. This is bad, right? So it's just doing this same thing again. And we're just kind of doing these like runs out. So like, the measured move here for the dollar is like way up here, right? Gotta zoom out on the daily. But it's like way up there. It's like in the 114 range. So that's yeah, it's like coming up in here, like this first range right here. This kind of lines up with this past historic range at like 114-ish, 112. So usually we won't get all the way up there. Usually we'll get like partly up there, but Death Cat is like calling. So like this thing's like at like, the breakout target here is pretty far up there, you guys. It's pretty far up there. This daily here, it's like pretty far up there. So 110, $112. Geez, you guys. Okay, so it's like it's gonna break out. So if that actually happens on the dollar, then I would expect everything else to kind of take a hit here. But immediately speaking, like Shiba is looking really beautiful. We had a buy on the hash ribbons a little bit ago, and we're currently, I think, following ETH. Like I think everything's following ETH right now. So that's what kind of everybody is talking about. You guys, cheers, salute everybody out there. JBZ, dude. All my homies. You guys are what keeps me fueled. I do this for you. Hopefully this TA helps. There's a lot of confusion out there. And I stress everybody a balance between the digital realm and the physical realm. So have assets, have food, have property, diversify in different things. But I think everything is kind of forming this ascending triangle right now in the charts. So I'm not going to go too crazy into it. ETH is definitely having this breakout right now. Shiba is having this ascending triangle. Doge's having this kind of like it's not having ascending triangle. It's just kind of having this wedge right here, and it's looking like it wants to poke its little head out of this wedge. We thought we had a busted line right here. I don't know what this line goes back to. Oh, this goes back to the old legacy support. I was trying to find support, but it looked like we found support here. And so we're still in this kind of descending wedge. So we do have a breakout target of like 12 cents. Even in a bear market, even if this is a consideration, like, if it breaks 14, 15, then we can talk about a bull market. But even a breakout of still, you guys, we still have like 80%. It could break out 79%. We could have a 79% rally and still be in a bear market. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. So we're still in a bear market. We're looking pretty juicy on a reversal. So there's a lot of signs indicating that we may have just had our bottom. I don't want to say that quite yet, but I am holding a little bit of a nut for a $14,000 Bitcoin. But I would say I'm like 75% in the market right now, about 25% cash on the readily liquidity, right? Readily available liquidity. So there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines right now. There's like $2 billion of stable coins in the market. I would say a lot of things are picking up. And I think ETH is really, honestly, you guys, leading the way here. I think all the other cryptos are going to start charging. Litecoin is also breaking out. That's the one, come on, Litecoin. Litecoin's doing what Doge is going to do here in a second. So Litecoin and Doge are actually doing very similar patterns. Litecoin is Doge's daddy, obviously. And so Doge hasn't broken out of this, but look at this, look at these patterns. Okay, so this is Doge, this is Litecoin, right? So Litecoin's breaking out. Doge is probably a real good bet on the long position right now. Shiba is looking tasty, you guys. This thing is being held by the majority of the whales of Ethereum. All the Ethereum whales, the number one holdings. And we have, I think it's very possible Elon is responsible for this project, you guys. I'm just going to go out and say it, because I'm a dude on YouTube and don't listen to me anyway, but it turns out to be true. I can mark this day on July 18th. I called Elon out as being Ryoshi. Anyways, this is my theory. I have a lot of theories. A lot of times they prove me right. I do have a very good ear for truth. I will say that. A lot of people have said that about me. just to let you guys know a little bit about me. You know, I have good intentions. I love our government. I love the US dollar. I don't want to collapse here, you guys, in the US dollar. Like, it's a world reserve currency. Like, I hope US dollar, like, I just hope it chills out. Like, it just, you know, I don't want a complete crash here, but I mean, it would make me rich if it did crash, right? So like, if it does something, I'm on the weekly, you guys. I've zoomed out. I've talked about this a little bit before, but this was the two previous, these circled areas right here are the two previous Bitcoin bull runs that I've been part of. Okay. What I've never been part of is this, right? Look at this thing, dude. It dwarfs, it just circles both of them, dude. And I've got like ghost eyes, right, on this thing. So like, look at this thing. So if the dollar comes up, if it comes up this high, you guys, we might see a $14,000 Bitcoin. Not gonna lie, but it's gonna stay right there. It's gonna be like 14,000, and we're gonna start recovering. And it might take like a year and a half, and do something, you know, similar to this. Do like a triple top, basically. Very similar pattern to actually what Bitcoin just pulled off, right? A Wyckoff distribution. So, but if we see something like that happen, right, and it goes into something like this, you guys, dude, we're all millionaires, right? Like, we're all millionaires. This thing right here, if you're part of this, if you get in, like, yeah, it's really high. We could have like more, we could have more pain. We could have a 14,000. This thing could come up here and like linger for like a year and a half, right? And like Bitcoin could bounce around like the $14,000 range, right? But then it's going to be part of this, you guys. They're going to turn on this. They're going to turn on the money printers again, right? They're going to turn on this. They're going to turn on the machines. You're going to start busting out bonds, busting the bond, you know, and then this is basically, you know, honestly, this is what's going to, this, you guys see this, something like this in the dollar. This is what's probably going to put us back on like constitutional money, right? This is gold and silver. So this is when gold and silver, Bitcoin, all asset classes, land, food, all that stuff kind of goes through the roof, right? So anyways, hang strong, you guys. To all my brothers out there, I wish you the best. And my sisters, cheers to you. Have a good night. We are getting, just to let you guys know, on the dollar, we're getting some pretty heavy bearish divergence. So I think this is a sign of a little bit of a reversal and at least a reprieve for Bitcoin, you know, bumping its head on at least, you know, the 20, 25, you know, 27-ish range. So even in a bear market, you guys be strong, make some money. All right, later, peace. Like I'm on now.